guys, it's Ty with Ty the Dog Guy on the Daily, and I want to spit some science at you today. Now, a lot of you out there know me as a very renowned, esteemed scientist, and if that's the case, I don't know who you've been watching because that's not me. All right, I'm not a scientist, but I was talking with a client today who happens to be a psychologist, and we were talking about a study. So I'm going to tell you about this study and how it relates, because what he said after I shared something, he was like, oh my gosh, this is exactly like a study that I read about that was published not too long ago. So here's what it is. Here's the long and short of it, and I probably won't do it great justice, but here's how the study went. So they found a group, I don't remember how big, I think it was 100 people or something like that. And the similar characteristic amongst all the people was that they all had like anxiety challenges, anxiety issues, things like that, nervousness, things like that. And so they split the group in two, and one group got one thing, the other group got the other thing. So the first group got training that said, all right, when you're starting to feel stressed, when you're starting to feel nervous, here's what you should do. And basically gave them some meditative type techniques and some coping mechanisms and things like that. And the second group said what they taught them was the exact same techniques, but they essentially said, okay, we need you to do these every day. Take a half hour or whatever it was. Take some time every day and do these meditative techniques and these meditative processes every day. And then something like a year later, they measured the results. And overwhelmingly, the people who were doing it on a daily basis, just as part of their daily rituals and things like that, were so much more able to cope with stress to the point where their stress was much lower. And I think they even measured it on chemical levels, measuring serotonin or who knows, I'm not a scientist. They measured it on a number of different areas. And so the people who were taught coping mechanisms for the moment they were feeling stress and anxiety improved, but the people that were taught to do these things as a meditative kind of a proactive thing improved far, far more. So where am I going with this? The reason we were talking about this is because with this particular client, their dog has some anxiety and some aggression issues. And so what we were talking about is maintaining a baseline. Now, if you've read some of my stuff or watched some of my videos, you've probably seen me talk about this before. But essentially, if we were to take a baseline and say, okay, on one end we've got complete chaos, on the other end we've got complete control, where do we fall on the baseline? Most dogs are already closer to the chaos end, meaning, they might not be going nuts all the time. In fact, they probably aren't, but they probably don't come when called like they should, or wait at the door like they should, or sit like they should, or heel properly like they should, or wait for their dinner like they should. They may not be like destroying everything in the house and peeing all over the place and eating every person they see, but they're not the best behaved. And so as a result, they're a little bit closer to that chaotic end than they are to the control end. And so what I was talking about with this client was essentially, hey, look, when your dog is feeling anxious and aggressive, here's exactly what we need to do. But even better than that is the other 95% of the dog's life, which is let's create this baseline where the dog knows how to be calm, knows how to relax, and we're doing kind of these meditative procedures every day. And it doesn't have to take that much work, but here's what it looks like. It looks like a dog who waits at the door when we ask him to, who heels properly, who isn't jumping on guests, who isn't freaking out with distractions. That's what it looks like. That's the dog's meditation. In fact, one step further is most of our clients, we recommend 30 to 45 minutes a day of just a downstay or a place command, and I call it doggy meditation, where the dog can like relax and just kind of self-regulate and soothe and things like that. And so as I was explaining this to him, he was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe how similar this is to that study that they did that showed that dealing with stress proactively, meaning just every day teaching the mind how to think, is so much more valuable than dealing with stress in the moment. Now again, dealing with stress in the moment is a positive, and so that group, it was not a bad thing to teach them that. It was good. It helped them. And in fact, when we're working with dogs with anxiety and aggression and things like that, it's the same thing. Here's exactly what we do in the moment in order to deal with this. But better than that is the other 95% of the dog's life, and that's where we do these calming protocols every day, calming processes every day, and we're going to have a dog that just exists on a different plane and can therefore handle when things in life come at them. So think about how you can apply that with your dog.